Hello, I'm Ingemar Hunnings, lead consultant at Hunnings Consultancy, and I'm talking this time about how to receipt checks and cash into Leap. We do a lot of work with the Leap software, either implementing, and we must have implemented it into over 1,000 firms so far, and also other training and advice and assistance to firms. Now, one of the things that I cover when I'm doing the bookkeeping training is how to receive checks and cash. And I'm going to be sharing my screen to take you through that. It's obviously more complex in real life. And so it is reflected that way in Leap. Now, I'll do that showing the client account entries on the matter, just because it's the same with regard to office account. But client account obviously is more concerned because it's not your money, and the SRA are obviously understandably more concerned about that as well. So I'm going to share my screen and take you to my training Leap. Okay. So I'm on a matter and I'm in client funds. So here we go. I'm going to minimize my picture as well, so that's not distracting anyone. So we're in a matter in Leap. We go to the client funds tab where you can do a new receipt from that button up there. Now, if it was electronically received, and you're probably recording that from your bank statement, that's straightforward. It will go into the available balance because it is straight into your bank account. If it's a receipt which is cash or check, then in real life, you've got to do more. You've got to go to the bank and pay it in, or you could pay it in remotely through paying in app through the phone or what have you. But you have to do something more before it's going to appear in the bank and therefore in the bank statement. And so Leap doesn't assume, quite correctly, it shouldn't do. Leap does not want to encourage or assist you in overdrawing your client account. So let us first of all receive cash. New receipt. And it's going to assume your client account. If you have more than one, then you need to pick very carefully which one it is. It's going to say here who it's received from. You're recording that data. And it's picking up your client automatically. Now, if it's not coming from your client, click this box here and go and select from the matter who else it's coming in from. And it defaults to cards on the matter. And I'm very happy it does. From a compliance point of view, if you're receiving it from someone who's not already on the matter, then who are they? Your firm is going to have policies and procedures which it follows to check the identity and the source of funds of the paying party. And that's going to be important for your anti-money laundering, financial crime compliance. So although Leap will allow you to create a card and go and search for the content elsewhere, if it's not on the matter, the card isn't already on the matter, I would suggest that needs to be addressed and you follow the firm's proper policies and procedures. Now, I'm not going to select someone else on this occasion, but you can see where it could be coming up with your client, but actually the money is coming in from someone else. It could be, say, if you're working in personal injury, it could be a check that's coming from an insurance company. But at the moment, we're just dealing with cash. So here, payment type, go and pick the appropriate payment type, and I'm going to pick cash. And then Leap wants you to put in how much it is in notes and coins. Now, hopefully there are no coins in here, but let's say maybe your firm has a limit that it will accept up to £500, de minimis, wouldn't it? Okay, there we go. The receipt number will come in automatically, transaction number and date. So these will come in automatically with the current date. The entry date you can't change is part of your audit trail. The transaction dates you can change and often will want to change. So let me just talk a little bit about that. You want to track what actually is happening in real life. And so if the money actually came in on an earlier date, you may well want to record that in there. This then is a question of thinking also, what does your bank tell you? And this is a general point. It's possibly most applicable to an electronic receipt, but if it was paid in by cash by the client, then you may want to do this as well. So your bank could be telling you one of three things when you read the bank statement. Either you could be seeing it written in there and they don't tell you whether or not the money is cleared, or the bank could be telling you when they know about it, and then it could be that they have a useful note to tell you whether or not the money has cleared. or it could only appear when it's cleared funds. So there's different things that could appear here, but just make sure that you put the date in or when the money came in. All right. Pay particular attention around the beginning of the month. Okay. So the beginning of March 2025 is a good example. You could have had the Friday off. You come in on the Monday, the 3rd of March, and Leap will give you the 3rd of March as the date for the money coming in. If you just leave it there and just accept the date the Leap has given you, that could cause you a problem with your client account reconciliation, because the bank may be saying the money came in February, let's say the 28th, but you've told Leap it's coming in March. So just be careful with the dates. It's a thing that people most often get wrong. Okay, matter number. Okay, it brings in the current matter number, the reason why the money's come in. Okay, now I don't like it when people just put money on account, because that's half the sentence. On account of what? A takeaway tonight, holiday fund, or maybe it's on account of disbursements. That's better. Indeed, I would prefer to have the actual disbursement listed there as well. Okay, so we're saying £500. That's what we said. Save and close. Now, there is the ability to hit this little button up here, and you can print or just send this PDF onto the correspondence tab, or indeed even email here, and that will then produce an email with a receipt attached to it. So if it is the client who's paying you, that could then just be a nice little feature that can help you. Anyway, I'm going to go save and close, and that will put that on as the next item on here as a receipt. Now that's fine, that's on there, but in real life, you still got to go into the bank and pay the money in. So in Leap, you will have to record when you deposited that money into the bank, and then it's going to appear in your reconciliation in Leap, because it will then appear in your bank statement. I'll show you how to do that in a moment once I've taken you through Cheques, and I'll show you that all together. So let's do now a receipt, which is instead a check. New receipt, all the same training I just talked about here. And let's go to check. Let's say it's a personal check in from the client. Now, Leap will want you to put in the bank details of the bank account for which the money is to be transferred when the check is presented. I would rather take a picture, maybe through the Leap app on the phone, or a photocopy of the check, rather than writing out the data here. So Leap wants some data, so I would just put zeros in and tap for it. Up to you. So then again, put that data in, matter number, reason why, money on account for our fees, let's say on this occasion, money spelled correctly, wobbly, and then the amount. So let's say it's a check for 2,500. Okay. What date? We talked about the dates. I'm going to put that in here as same date. Now, there we go. Same thing about receipts, save and close. What happens is you're going to see this go into the uncleared amount, 25 in there. And just like with the cash, you need to tell Leap when you paid it into the bank. Leap is not going to assume, which is good. It's maybe sitting in the drawer in your desk until you can get to the bank. So that's not available, that 2,500 yet, until you told Leap that you paid it in. So the way you tell Leap is to go to your home screen and to the menu with a hamburger there. And on accounting, this is multi-matter accounting functions, and we're going to go to client accounting because that's what we're talking about, but the same feature exists in Office. We have new bank deposit. And that's where you tell Leap when you paid the money in to the bank. So all of those entries, which are cash or check, not the electronically transferred ones, backs and things like that, it's the cash or check, will be drawn into here, ready for you to select all and tell Leap that you've gone to the bank to pay in that sum, which could be a lump sum. I'm not going to select all so that I can keep some of these for another training session. So if I select these two here, you'll see I'm going to pay in £3,000. You can write a note. You can say when you're paying them in or when you paid them in. Okay, I'm going to say today. What will happen when I click save and close is that we're telling Leap that we've paid that into the bank. Two things will happen for both the cash and the check ones. A third thing will happen for the check in addition. So the thing that's going to happen for both cash or check payments into the bank is that when we click save and close, it will place the records of those into the reconciliation in Leap. This is client account I'm talking about, yeah? because then now they'll be in the bank account and they'll be in the bank statement. Secondly, you'll see that when we click Save and Close, it will produce you a PDF, which you may then print and keep to refer to when you're doing the client account reconciliation, so that you know what this £3,000 is made up of. Thirdly, just for checks, it will start to count down the check clearance period. Now, in your application settings, there'll be a period set in there for your firm for how long it takes for your bank to clear. The default in LEAP is 5 days, not working days, 5 days. And on the 6th day, it will clear. So here we go. I'm going to do Save and Close. And what we're going to see is it going to produce a PDF summary of what's been paid in, showing the check amounts and the cash amounts, but the total here. So you can see this will be very helpful when it comes to do your client account reconciliation, because your bank statement may say a receipt of 3,000, and you're then having to do some maths to try and work out what it's made up of, unless you're looking at this, which is actually going to give you the breakdown. So it saves you the job. You know which matter it is, what the check or the entries were here, and what the amounts were. So going back to our matter here, what happens when the 6th day arrives? That will then move into the available balance, rather. And so then it will be there ready for you to spend. Okay. But if we go to make a new payment on here, what it would show is £500 available, because clearly the 2,500 is not yet available. So it's there to help you. Now, it is possible to override this. Okay. So if I go into this matter here, and if actually the money has cleared earlier, obviously with great care, what you can do is hit the raisins up here. I call these 3 dots the raisins, makes them more colorful. And you can mark the check as cleared, which will then mean that it will move from the uncleared amount into the available balance. So if it clears more quickly than you expect, then you could do that, and then the money will be available for you to spend. Just a tiny little bit on reversals. I'm not really covering reversals in detail here, but if you can reverse any transaction, open it up, double left click and reverse. Be really careful that when you reverse it with the same date as the original transaction, here the 27th of March, not the 31st, so that the reversal will sit, it'll be a separate transaction. It will sit immediately next to the original incorrect entry. So you'll only reverse when it's an incorrect entry. And that means they'll sit next to each other in the reconciliation as well, which is going to help you. If you're reversing, you need to think, has anything happened to this transaction since it was put in? Because just like knitting, where you have to unravel back to the stitch that you've dropped, so with bookkeeping, you have to walk backwards through in the steps from the current position you're in on that transaction. So if we were to try and reverse this receipt here of the check, then you should think, has anything happened to that transaction subsequent and dependent upon that? And of course there was. We then deposited it. So if this transaction turned out to be wrong, it should have been 250, not 2,500, then you can't amend this. All you can do is reverse it. But you can't just reverse it, because if you did that, you would leave a dependent subsequent transaction then unconnected. And at some stage, that's going to come and hurt you, mess up your finances. So what you should do is properly reverse each step back to the error and then put them in correctly. So if you want to reverse this check receipt, then you have to go to the raisins and open the bank deposit, where you can then reverse that, being careful to do so with the correct date. It will create another transaction to do that with. Okay, I'm not going to do it now, but then you could reverse the original incorrect receipt and start again. So just a little bit there on reversals. So I hope that's helpful. Just as a little video just on the topic of receipting cash and checks. Very good. If you have any questions about LEAP, or you want some help with training and such like, then please do reach out to us. My name is Ingemar Hunnings, and I'll just bring up onto the screen here our website. We do a lot of it. You can see a lot of compliance work. It was the case management support and LEAP in here that's referring to. So lots of stuff that we can help you with. So Hunnings Consultancy and ideally fill in a form so that we can contact you. Random phone calls can work, but I might not be available or may not pick up exactly what someone's saying. So it's far better if you can fill in. Anyway, I hope that's of help, and I look forward to speaking with some of you. All right. Take care. Goodbye.